Howdy y'all, today I'm going to be reviewing some Tupperware I bought recently, going to be putting it through a couple different tests, going to be exciting, let's get to it. The Tupperware that I bought, that I'll be reviewing here, I bought it from Walmart. I was looking all over the place for some heavier duty Tupperware. I bought some prior to this at Walmart in the camping section, but unfortunately I did not read the tag. It said it's not for storing food in, but it was very well built. So I was very unfortunate. I was looking for something similar all over the place, and I could not find it in any stores I was going to. So I went back to Walmart, looked in the Tupperware section, and I found this Tupperware. This was some of the cheaper Tupperware that looked heavier duty. The more expensive stuff was made by Rubbermaid, and it just seemed flimsier. Even holding it just seemed flimsier. The corners seemed like they could catch on something and just be flimsier overall. This seemed heavier duty. It's not the thickest plastic in the world, but it is thicker than other Tupperware. So I was giving it a try, shaking it around. I am just barely able to get this into an adventure bag of mine to where it can be flat. I thought it was going to have to be stored vertically, but thankfully it can be stored just laying down at the bottom. And so my very best friend and I are going to be going different places, and I wanted this to be in the backpack to have food, all kinds of good stuff in there. And there's two different sizes of Tupperware. There's this size and then two smaller ones. So I have high expectations for it, but I was starting to get little specks of water on my hands, and I was disappointed at this because at this point in time, I was believing that in order for this to fit in my bag, it would have to be vertical. I did try it before washing it. It worked perfectly being vertical. Afterwards, after drying all this out, I was able to find that it just barely fit into the backpack laying down flat. So that is really good. So this testing isn't as disappointing as I thought it would be, but still I was hoping this would have a better seal, better clamps to where I could shake this all over the place and it wouldn't leak. The leaky spots are actually on the hinges more so than the corners. It's coming out of the corners, but the hinges where it's coming out from. So I do want to note that for those y'all that are thinking about taking this on trips, and if it's going to be stored vertically or on its side rather than flat on the bottom of the Tupperware, that I would probably not recommend doing that with this Tupperware. As good as it seems just for being flat, it's not so good being on its side or on the smaller edges as well. The smaller Tupperware seemed to be doing really good at first. I was shaking it all around, shaking it really hard, and it seemed fine. But then after a while, it started to come out of the hinges. Not as much as the larger one, but it did start to come out some. So that was disappointing. I did have a lot higher hopes for all this Tupperware to go through a little bit more rigorous testing of trying to keep the water inside. It wasn't just pouring out, but it was shaking out some, which was disappointing. But again, this wasn't the most expensive. I believe the large Tupperware piece was $9.98, and the two smaller pieces came together as a pack, and they were about $5.60, I believe. Don't quote me if y'all want to look online at Walmart's website. This is the Great Value brand, and it looked better than the Rubbermaid, even though Rubbermaid, I believe, has a higher reputation for Tupperware. It felt very flimsy. The corners, they could be peeled apart very easily. Not that it broke, it's just it could move very easily and didn't hold together very well with the clamps. Clamps were flimsier. So just testing this, and the water is coming out a little bit, but thankfully I was able to find out that I wouldn't have to have these stored vertically in the backpack. They'll just be able to stack on top just as how I had them here. But I was going over the large one again, and it doesn't just pour out, which is great. So that way if the backpack gets tilted some, it's not just going to pour out all over. But if it's being shaken a lot and it's on the backpack's on the side, if y'all are storing this in some sort of bag and the bag is on the side and it's being shaken a lot for any given reason and it's being shaken vigorously, it will leak out the hinges and a little bit of the corners, but mostly out of the hinges. So I did want to throw that out there for y'all because it would have been nice to have known this before, but also since I've been able to find out it works different in the backpack, it is better in my opinion. Hope y'all enjoyed.